And hi, I'm Cindy, and welcome to Pearls of Liberty for October the 16th, 2011. We were away this weekend, so we're doing kind of an abbreviated version, but we really had some things that we wanted to comment on. And the first one that has seemed very significant and really is an extraordinary story is the connection supposedly between fast and furious gun running and supporting cartels in Mexico relating to an Egyptian ambassador in the U.S. whose life was threatened by
a used car salesman.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Can you explain that to me? Because I don't understand. I really don't understand.
Well, our brilliant FBI, CIA, intelligence agencies found a used car salesman that frequents hookers and smokes pot, who had infiltrated the drug cartels in Mexico and was running guns and convinced them that he was a part of them, but he was really with the Iranians who were plotting to assassinate a Egyptian ambassador in Washington, D.C., but they caught him just in time before he could pull off his nefarious plot. And
boy, those guys are on their game, aren't they?
Oh man, we're so fortunate to have these people that are saving us from this horrible evil, the wicked people in the world. I tell you, we're so fortunate. It is amazing. It's like a cartoon. It's wow. I mean, they must think we're really, really, really stupid people. Just how many people are believing the mainstream media anymore? There's people coming out of the woodwork and the intelligence agencies and the media to say this thing is totally, totally bogus, fishy, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's not flying, which is really good news that it's not flying.
God.
People are seeing through it. I'm hopeful, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to happen anyway. It sounds like we have given the bunker busting bombs to the Israelis, so they sound like they are set on bombing the supposed nuclear weapons facilities in Iran. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the U.S. is going to back Israel in this. I am hoping that this actually begins to open America's eyes to the fact that blanket endorsements of what Israel wants to do is having its days numbered, this kind of blanket endorsement. And I hope that people learn things about the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad that says, whose motto is, by way of deception thou shalt do war. Does not sound like a biblical principle to me, so maybe these guys are really not claiming to follow the God of the Bible like many Christians think they are. It's a secular state, and it is bad news to blindly endorse something just because they have the same name as people in the Bible. So use your noodle, figure out what's going on, and just don't be led into some blanket support that could get us into World War III. That's our first story.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, and we heard from someone that the establishment would like to be in a war with Iran in the next 2 months, based on weather and other circumstances.
Yeah.
But I imagine they want to do it quickly too, because they realize that the longer they wait, the more support is going to wane.
More people find out the truth.
Yeah. So don't. I mean, this is almost worth a war protest sign over. We were talking about hanging a banner from our deck that.
It's time to start doing stuff like that.
Just say no to war in Iran or something like that.
Yeah.
It's let people know how you feel about this. It's significant.
I saw a thing on Facebook that I liked, and I posted. It's if lies can get us into war, then truth can stop it. So tell the truth. Let the truth about this thing be known, and there will be no popular support for this bogus war, and they won't be able to pull it off. And really, the controllers really only have as much power as we give them by our either willing or unwilling support to their deception or our endorsement of their lies. So don't buy in and let that be known.
And in case we were unclear about this whole story about Fast and Furious somehow being related to Iranians in Mexico trying to kill some Egyptian in Washington, it really, we were talking about at dinner the other night, and we were joking how it sounds like a bunch of, Chicago hoods just sitting around a table. Hey guys, how you think we can spin this one? Mm. And it's not even a good story. I mean, please just think, ask questions, watch
another
the dog.
Factual thing that we should point out was that Attorney General Eric Holder was just about to be indicted under a federal grand jury indictment, I believe, and this story broke the night before his indictment, which apparently hasn't happened because, their excuse for their involvement is this concocted story. So they're trying to legitimize this through what inside of these intelligence agencies, people that have the access are saying there is no such thing in the database. It's totally made up. Yeah. This is craziness. So, way corruption at the highest level.
Don also had some things he wanted to say about the Occupy Wall Street movement.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more obvious that leftist, Soros-funded groups are, like MoveOn.org, are doing their best to co-opt the movement, but it isn't really working. There are people in the streets that are genuinely angry about what Wall Street is doing, and these people need to be educated about what the Federal Reserve is doing and how it's really the Fed that is giving Wall Street its power. And the more that the Occupy Wall Street people are educated about the real root of the problem, the better off we're going to be. Mark Dice, I saw a great video that he did in the streets of Encinitas, which is where my mother lives. Saw this clip this morning, and it was awesome. I don't think I had a chance to show it to you, but Mark Dice is there talking to people on the streets of Encinitas and is getting different reactions. Some people are saying yes, and some people and the Fed group did show up, but the people were lining the streets in downtown Encinitas, which is a beautiful little city, and some of the people thought Mark was on their side, and some of them didn't. And the more that we can get out there and educate people like Mark is doing, the better off we're all going to be. And we don't want to say, at least I want to say, that it's not a good idea to just say these people are just hippies that are trashing the place and we want to ignore them because they're all communists, because that's not what's happening. That's what the media wants you to believe, even though I'm saying, yes, there are leftist Soros funding of these groups, but they have genuine grievances that are actually, in some documents, very well articulated. So I don't think that it's useful to just say, these guys are leftist wackos, ignore them. I think we need to take the intelligence statements of the problem seriously, but educate people as to the real root cause of the problem. It's not people that are just greedy and have too much money. It's the fact that the whole money system game is rigged. The fact that the Federal Reserve can control Congress by through the corporations that fund the lobbyists that write the bills. So it's really the Federal Reserve that's the root cause of the problem. It's not capitalism. What we have now is not capitalism. What we have is a mafia-esque foreign banking cartel that is running a rigged casino here. And that's what needs to end. And that's the root of the corruption. And if we can get that word out to the Occupy Wall Street people, a lot of good can come from this.
And when Don says it's Soros funded, a friend of ours sent us a link that is actually a real Craigslist ad where they were seeking to hire people to participate in the protest on Wall Street.
They got paid some pretty good money, right?
Yeah, they got paid between $350 and $650 a day.
Maybe they get bonuses if they trash the place and tell people and paint signs that say I'm a communist. You know,
I don't know. You know, if you care about your country, get out there and do something.
Sorry.
We just wanted to mention, you know, because we were talking with some friends in the car on our trip this weekend too about fake YouTube comments, and you know, people are actually paid to appear to be grassroots movement people. Yeah. There are people who are paid to put negative comments on truther YouTube videos.
Yeah, I want to point out that there's never anything that's ever really completely 100% grassroots. This Occupy Wall Street movement was triggered when there was a sense in the intelligence, the Google and all of the intelligence gathering apparatus that the NSA has that says, yes, these people are ripe for getting into the streets. So there's one thing that these people know, and that's that the best way to control the opposition is to lead the opposition. So they are doing their best to lead this opposition, and what people don't suspect is that, well, if these people are communists, it can't be the establishment that's leading it because the communists are anti-establishment, right? Wrong. Problem, reaction, solution. The bankers control both sides, and they control communism not because it's a threat to them, but because it's the best way for them to consolidate wealth, to control the people, to control the masses. They're the oligarchy that sits on top of that. So they are for both this fake capitalism and the fake communism, which is not really shared wealth by the people. It's just a way of gobbling up the wealth so that the people are all kept in a subservient state. And we need to start seeing through that. And we need to realize that they want to co-opt it, but things are bad. But if we see through their attempted co-opting of the movement and actually use the movement to educate people to the true root of the problem, people will see the man behind the curtain, and they won't have the power they have anymore. They only have power because they're invisible to us, to the large body of people, but more and more people are seeing through them.
So help your friends see. Just tell them about things and let them process it for themselves, but at least tell them, give them a chance.
Yeah, and end the Fed. And I want to also take this opportunity to say that it's not just ending the Fed in itself is not the solution either. If, as Milton Friedman wisely said to, I think it was Bill Still, who's a great monetary reporter, that if you end the Federal Reserve and don't end fractional reserve banking, you've done nothing. The whole problem with the Federal Reserve is, well, number one, it's secret, so the people can't audit it. But even if the Congress, say it did, overnight change, and we controlled the Federal Reserve, if it was still fractional reserve banking that allowed for money to be lent out at interest that was created from fiat, we would still be in almost as big a problem as we are now. Fractional reserve banking that is interest-bearing must end. When the people control the money, then there should not be any interest involved. There should be no interest on creating money from nothing, which is the con game these guys have been playing. So I wanted to point out that's the root problem. It's not even merely ending the Fed. It's ending interest-bearing fractional reserve banking is the root cause.
And a little segue is easy from the Federal Reserve banking system to Herman Cain, because Herman Cain used to be a Federal Reserve chairman. And Herman Cain is
surging in the polls. And people aren't seeing through this guy to the extent that they should. I think the Fed people are, the people that are awake to conspiracies are, but Herman Cain is saying, hey, when I was Fed chairman in Kansas City in the 90s, we were good. Everything was okay. No. The Federal Reserve has been in existence since 1913, and I won't go into all the shady dealings that led to that. G. Edward Griffin's story, The Creature from Jekyll Island, is great. Eustace Mullins, The Secrets of the Federal Reserve, is also great, and they revealed that the roots of it. It is the bankers offering the solution to the problem they themselves created. They gave themselves a monopoly, that they were unaccountable, and here's the key point. They have been, in the last 100 years, reducing the 98 since 1913, reduced the value of the dollar by 97%. It's now 3% of the value that it was back then, based on gold and silver. And I'm not necessarily a commodities person, but that's just how you measure the value of something, by a known quantity. So Herman Cain is trying to say, hey, we were okay in the 90s. No, they were not okay in the 90s. These guys move slowly so that you don't see or feel the boiling water that you, the frog, are in. It's that principle. So, no, don't let them pass it off as a scam. It is a scam. And, I like to point this out. This comes from Wayne Paul, that he said when he was studying the original Federal Reserve document, all through that document it said, Federal Reserve Accounting Unit Dollar. Federal Reserve Accounting Unit Dollar was this acronym with capital letters on each of the words. And what does that spell? Federal Reserve Accounting Unit Dollar. It's fraud, and they're telling you it's fraud if you have a clue to see it. And these are criminals, and this is what they do. So don't let a smooth-talking Federal Reserve chairman that claims to be a wise businessman, who really is just a made man in this mafia system, con you, and that's all it is.
Yeah. We only saw one film this week, and we were looking over our Netflix list, and we have so many Lie to Me episodes on there, which the new episodes are up. But we Friday evening we watched Secretariat, which was a little sentimental and doesn't quite, in my opinion, doesn't have the kind of mystical atmosphere and ambience that something like Seabiscuit or even the Black Stallion had, just that, that mystery about horses. But they did quote a Bible verse out of Job about how horses are, powerful creatures. So, and Don, I think Don enjoyed it a little more than I did. It was a good movie. It's definitely worth watching. Not a bad way to spend an evening.
I enjoyed it at least partially because I remember living through the news stories about Secretariat and this amazing horse that wasn't really as great as his owner said it was. And I didn't know all the inside stories and I know it was in the news at the time, but I hadn't remembered all the details about how they were trying to sell the rights to breed this horse, etc., and all the different things that were done in order to, as we learn in the movie, for the owner to be able to survive financially. So it's a good story. It takes you back into the early 70s, and it's an amazing horse. The horse itself has not been matched, and this is an owner whose father had the horses, and she took over the farm, was able to make it work because of a coin toss that she actually lost, but the millionaire who won it didn't make as wise a pick as she did that got her the horse that became known as Secretariat. And you see some wise character choices that this person made in firing somebody that was about to betray her and choosing to really fully have one of the workers of her father that she trusted be the person that actually ended up naming the horse. And you have a good team there, and interesting people. So it's an enjoyable film. I recommend it.
It's a good film. 4 stars, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not have the opportunity to meet with Dr. Noah this weekend because we were out of town. But this week we did officially launch Dr. U, drU.biz, and the link will be there. We'd love to have you stop by that website and look it over. For the time being, until I think it was December 1st, the page that will normally be charged for the flu ebook and some videos about the flu and how to have alternatives to flu shots and so forth is available free for about a month and a half. So check that out if you're concerned about flu shots.
Yeah, I want to say that we keep finding reasons to be encouraged that this is something that will really benefit people. When we hear or read about how the current healthcare system or Obamacare, neither one can really survive, and that people are really going to be looking for alternative ways, we are privileged to know a man who can fill that gap and assist in getting the information, the wealth of knowledge of healing that he has out to people in a way that is not available on any other website. It's available in bits and pieces, some of it, but Cindy's putting it together in a comprehensive packaged form, and that will also have access to devices that are used by alternative healers and are very, very useful, but are not money makers for the medical establishment. So we're going to be assisting people in putting all this healing knowledge in your hands and minds and hearts. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for watching. And next weekend we'll be on the road again, but we will do some kind of a report.
And we're encouraged when people come up to us and tell us, hey, we watch you every week. That happened to us today. So thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Casey. Thanks.